Good afternoon, everybody, and you're joining the information session by the Master Biomedical Sciences. And this afternoon we will tell you some important things and information on our master program here at the LUMC in Leiden. My name is Dr. Jolanda van der Zee. I'm the program director, and I'm joined this afternoon by my colleague Hester Bootsma. She's the program advisor. And together we will talk you through some information on our master program. You can ask questions in the chat, and we will inform you how you can do that in our next slides. First of all, I will introduce the program. You can, after this program, visit our Q&A sessions, and these sessions will be joined by master students or alumni. And of course, after all, this afternoon, you can visit our website and mail us your questions. Well, first of all, some information on joining us through Presenters Wall.
So this is the screen, this is the picture that you have. So on the left you see the presentation that we give. And Presenters Wall you can join by the URL depicted in the left corner. And on the right hand you have two tabs, the Q&A and the Live tab. Next slide please.
Yes.
Through the Live tab you can answer the questions we pose to you during our presentations. We have a couple of questions that we want you to answer. So that's you can do in the Live tab. And if you go to the next slide, yes. In the Q&A tab at the end of the presentation, or if you have a question during the presentation, you can then pose your question there and we will answer your questions after our presentation. Yeah. So that's the Presenters Wall for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so you can already submit your questions, but we will answer them at the end of this presentation. Or you can keep them for the Q&A sessions starting later this afternoon. Well, first of all, we would like to ask you something because we are very interested in what your background is. So here there are various bachelor programs listed, and we would like to ask you to choose the program that you are from so that we have an idea on your background. So please answer the question for us in Presenters Wall.
So the answers are coming in already. We'll wait a little bit because there's usually a little bit delay. Right now it's very evenly distributed. So you can have done your bachelor at the LUMC, somewhere else in the Netherlands. You could have done a bachelor other than Biomedical Sciences in Leiden or some other program in the Netherlands. And of course you can also be an international student. So you're not from the Netherlands. And then we also have room for our HBO bachelors. So right now we have about 30 answers. And well, the majority of you are from another bachelor program from Leiden, which is interesting. We have quite a few students that have not done the bachelor Biomedische Wetenschappen, but do want to switch when they do the master. And I think also about 1/5 is from our own bachelor Biomedical Sciences, and there's about 10% international students in the audience that have answered. So I think we've got a pretty good picture, so we can go back to our presentation now.
Yeah, and that represents also quite well the percentage of students that are joining our master program. It's also a mix of students from Leiden and from students outside Leiden and also international students. So the audience represents that group very well, also in percentage. So what are the aims of our program? They are very broad, and actually we would like you to think about and investigate your future career perspectives. We think that is top priority to get you there where you would like to go. And to do that, we offer you opportunities to look in and outside academics. Offer you also opportunities to perform research that is related to the maintenance of health and prevention of disease. Very broad subjects, of course, in biomedical sciences. Train you to address scientific and societal challenges in the interdisciplinary field of biomedical sciences. And, very important, give you a set of skills suitable for a wide range of career opportunities, not only in biomedical research, but also, for example, in industry, policy making, communication and/or education. So we have a very important message to you that we would like to give you a lot of skills and knowledge for your future career. And biomedical sciences, well, your backgrounds, bachelor programs already have, you taught you that there's so much going on in the life sciences and in biomedical sciences. And the very important thing is that it's interdisciplinary. So what are we looking at? We can focus on questions regarding the healthy as well as the diseased state in humans. But we do that by studying processes at various levels. So molecules, cells, organs, humans, and even on population level. So it's a great opportunity to study healthy and disease states of humans. And we combine therefore elements from biology, chemistry, pharmacy, physics, and mathematics. And we combine that with the medical science. So it's a very exciting field. And of course, we know there's a lot of going on at the moment also in our society. Well, as I mentioned that there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment, we would like you to tell us what you think that the challenges are that we are faced. So what challenges are faced by biomedical sciences nowadays? What problems should we try to solve? Give us your priorities, and you can enter that again in presenters wall. What subjects do you think should be studied by biomedical sciences nowadays? So please enter your ideas in presenters wall.
So again, well, there's also already one answer: viruses. It's still a hot topic, obviously. So that's a great answer. Improvement of treatment, that can be very broad. You can talk about infectious diseases or cancer or whatever disease. So that's also a good one.
Cancer.
Well, there we have cancer. Antibiotic resistance, still a big issue when you talk about bacterial infections. Obesity, allergies, these are all kind of genetics I see coming. Infectious diseases is there. Autoimmune diseases, new epidemics or maybe even pandemics. So it's system biology problems. Yeah, that's also a good one because data science, big data are becoming more and more important in the kind of research that is going on within biomedical sciences. So neurodegenerative diseases, I see. Aging diseases, also a very good one because the population is getting older, like Alzheimer. So these are all very relevant problems that need to be addressed at various levels. So very good. Cellular therapies, I see. There are many priorities, but with the aging of populations, neurodegenerative diseases. That's certainly true. Yeah. Pandemics, dementia, immune disorders. Well, I think you all have very different ideas, but very relevant, all of them, for sure. So I think we can go back to our presentation.
Yeah. Well, there's enough to do for us, so that's also good to know. We, of course, made also a short list with some buzzwords. And, of course, the viral infections, that popped up right away also when we asked you. Cancer, as you can see, molecular and physiology mechanisms are involved in the development or regression of cancer. How can we develop treatments for neurological decline in an aging population? Exactly what you mentioned as well. New methods for diagnosing and analyzing genetic defects. Stem cell therapies, is this our future? How is the biomedical knowledge best translated to actual treatment of patients? So from bench to bedside. All very exciting, and you mentioned a lot of them, so you think there's a lot of going on, but we can still study and have to study as well. And what we like to propose also to you is think about, would you like to address these issues as a scientist in or outside academics, or would you like to address them as a policymaker, a communicator, or, for example, as an educator? There are so many ways in which you can address these issues, so it's very important to think about your role in all those important questions in the future. So in order to think about it, you could do the Master Biomedical Sciences. We are a 2-year full-time program, so that is 120 EC. It's at the LUMC, which is an academic medical center. And we have 2 starting dates. We have September and February. The language is English. And there are also a maximum number of students that we can accommodate each year, and that is 100. The Leiden University Medical Center, the LUMC, well, they have very important things to do. But we have, of course, we have patient care. We perform scientific research and education. And there are some facts, and maybe, I think at the moment we even have more employees even. So around 7,000. We have a lot of students in a variety of programs: medicine, biomedical sciences, both bachelor and master pharmacy, master vitality and aging, and also a master and bachelor clinical technology. And recently we started a master program, population health management. So there's even more going on than on this slide. We have a lot of PhD students, and also a lot of these PhD students graduate each year. So there's a lot of research going on as well in this medical center. This research is actually divided in a number of research themes in the LMC, and we listed them here, and there's a lot information can be found, of course, on the website of the LMC. But you can see that a lot of these themes actually represent all the issues that you all came up with in our word cloud in our previous questions. So we see cancer, we see immunity, we see medical genomics, infection, neuroscience. So all these important fields are represented within the research of the LUMC. So it's a great place to be and a great place to perform research. As I mentioned already, it's a 2-year program, and it's very important to realize that the first year of the master is dedicated to biomedical sciences. So, and this first year is for all students. And what does this first year entail? It starts with a couple of mandatory courses. First of all, a course on how to write a research proposal, a course on scientific conduct, and a 4-week course on statistics, R, and molecular epidemiology. So that's at the start of our program, that we give you these basic courses where you learn a lot of important information that you take with you if you go more into the scientific part of our master program. And here there come an opportunity to choose from all kinds of courses and also all kinds of subjects for a research internship. And one of the things that we are very proud of in our master program is that we have a lot of so-called Frontiers of Science courses. And actually the name already implicates what we are doing, because we move along at the frontiers of science, and we teach you also where that frontier is. And that is taught by our researchers in the LMC. So they tell you about the research that they perform, so exactly what it says at the frontiers of science. Usually they are 4-week courses, and we have a lot of them, and they are related to the research themes in the LMC. So that is a scientific deepening that we offered. So there's a whole list of themes. They have one or more frontiers of science courses, and a variety of subjects is taught there. Furthermore, for all that join the master program, there is at least 20-week research internship, so-called JRP1, Junior Research Project 1. So it's 20 weeks. I can even extend it in your elective area, but it's important to realize that even if you want to do a specialization, I will talk about that later, but you might have looked around on our website already, that although you might choose a specialization, like for example in management, that you still have to perform a research internship. So that's something to keep in mind. So your first year is dedicated to research. We also have a small module which runs along the whole master, career orientation, where we try to help you think about your development as a scientist, for example, or maybe whatever you would like to achieve, and also reflection assignments and some other stuff that we would like you to do to prepare yourself for the labor market. And there is an elective area where you can choose what you would like. The second year, that is the specialization year. And we have various specializations, so it's very important to realize that within this program, you choose a specialization within the master. So all students graduate with a Master of Science diploma. Whatever specialization you take, you get the same diploma. So that's very important, that within the master you can choose your direction. And we have a research, management, communication, education, and we have a combination with medicine. That is for students that are also enrolled in the Master Medicine in Leiden. So it's important to realize that you have to be enrolled in that program in order to choose this specialization. So within the master, you have the opportunity to think in your first year, would you like to address issues as a scientist or maybe in or outside academics, or maybe rather as a policymaker, communicator, or for example as an educator. So that is something that you can think about during your first master year. So what are these specializations about? What are you doing in your second year? Well, if you choose the research specialization, you will follow a course in laboratory animal sciences. You will perform a large internship, a research internship of at least 28 weeks. You will also write a proposal before the start, and you can write a scientific review on a subject related to your internship. And if you still have ECTS to follow, you can choose electives in or outside the LUMC. So that's completely focused at research. If you're interested in going into the direction more of business or management, then you follow courses at the Faculty of Science, and that is a program that there's some variety, but there's a minimum of 15 EC, and there are also elective courses, so you obtain some business knowledge. You will perform an internship in the management direction, so that is completely different from a research internship. It's a business-related projects in companies or other organizations. You will write a proposal in order to perform that internship, and also you can still spend some time on your electives. If I've checked the program correctly, tomorrow there is an information session by the business study, so you might want to check that out as well, because there are multiple master programs in Leiden that have a combination with business studies. So you might be interested in going to their information session. Well, a similar setup we have for communication specialization. Here the program is organized by Science, Communication and Society, SCS, and it's also a program at the Faculty of Science, and students follow courses, and they also perform an internship in the direction of communication. I was unable to find if they an information session by SCS, so maybe check the program, and otherwise they probably have an information session next year, February or March. Education, well, that's in Dutch, so you have to be able to speak Dutch. And then the program consists of courses and teaching biology at high school, and also they have, I noticed, an information session. And when you do the Master Biomedical Sciences, in general, you obtain the first grade biology diploma, so in that direction. And again, as I mentioned, it's possible to combine the master with a master program in medicine in Leiden. And then also, of course, the Dutch language is required, and that consists of a research internship, clinical elective, so that's important to realize that that opportunity exists as well, but that you have to be enrolled in a master medicine in Leiden. So hopefully you had already a quick look at our website, and maybe you have some thoughts about that already. So have you any idea on which specialization would you like to follow, or are you still undecided? So please bring out your votes and see where your interests lie.
So the first votes are coming in. It's only very few, but it's now 50-50 research management. Like I said, it's you don't have to know it already. You can decide in your first master year, or even at the beginning of your second master year if you're still in doubt. You can try out some courses of different specializations if you want to see if it's something for you. A lot of our students do that, but for now, about 60% of you thinks they want to follow the research specialization. This is actually also, again, very much in line with what we actually see with our current students. I think about 70% ends up choosing the research specialization, And then about 20% management. So you're a little bit behind because now I think only 7% of you think about management specialization. But like said, there's still room to choose, and also about 20% is still undecided, which is totally fine because the first year is dedicated to biomedical sciences anyway, so you have ample time to choose once you have started our master.
Yeah.
So I think we can go back to the presentation.
Yeah, that's definitely also what we see, because a lot of students are interested in, for example, research, but also might be interested in management. So they're still, during the first year, and as Hester already mentioned, even in the beginning of the second year, they, for example, start following business courses, and then they decide in what direction they would like to go. So that gives you really the opportunity to investigate what you would like to do. So important, of course, is why would you choose biomedical sciences in Leiden? There are a lot of biomedical sciences programs in the Netherlands and also outside the Netherlands, so there is a lot to choose from. And we have listed some things that we think that might make our program unique. And we think that first of all, what we already mentioned is that we have different specializations, so you can make choices within the same master program. So at the start you can think, well, I might want to do research, but even along the way, your first year, you might want to switch maybe to business, or the other way around. We aim to teach in small groups and of course individual training during your internships. As you saw in the program, we have a lot of time spent on internships. Of course, then you work in a research group or maybe at a company in your second year or other organizations, so the training is pretty individual. We consider our courses of high quality, and also the research in the LMC, but you're also allowed to do research outside the LMC. We think that is of high quality. At least we aim to have you, we also check that for internships outside the LMC, that we think the research is of high quality. There's flexibility within our program. You can study multiple subjects, so it's not that you start out with just one subject, but we really aim that you study multiple subjects during your master program. We have modern research facilities in the LMC, and there is also opportunities for students to go abroad again, fortunately, and we have an exchange with Heidelberg. So, for example, there's an opportunity to spend summer in Heidelberg, so that's also really a nice opportunity. And we think we have a very broad focus on career orientation in and outside academics. So we think that is also one of the highlights of our program. And you might have looked up where Leiden is, and also maybe it's popped up that there are good job opportunities because we are located in the Leiden Bioscience Park. I think one of the largest bioscience park, I guess, in the world even. So it's a good place to be. Flexible program, what does this mean? You will start together. So this is for a start in September, and as we will explain later on, at this moment it's also the time or to start thinking about the start in September 2023. So this is an example from last September, where you can see that we start with the 3 compulsory courses, as I mentioned. So you start with the whole group. How to write a research proposal, a scientific conduct course, and of course the big course on statistics. And as you can see, it's programmed in such a way that we just pay attention to one course at the same time. So it's not like 3 courses at the same time, but just a module, and then you finish the module, and then you start with the next module. And after all these compulsory courses, usually students decide to think about their choice of frontiers of science courses. And as you can see, we offered a variety of courses, and this is just an example, and that is what offered in October, November. You recognize we have virology, we have immunology, we have chemical biology, imaging, so it's a cardiovascular research. So there's a huge variety in subjects that related again to these themes in the LMC that we offer, and students choose from what we offer, because these courses are small scale, so usually it's a maximum of 15 to 20 students that participate in these courses. And then further along the year we have more courses but most of the students try to take their coursework in the first semester. So in your first year, the timing of your research internship is flexible because you can decide when you want to finish your coursework. You can also break an internship for a course, for example. So there are a lot of opportunities there. It's very important to realize that, of course, it needs some planning. It's not that we decide for you what you will take, but that you have to plan your year yourself. And we have, when you're admitted to the master, we have multiple online information sessions to help you plan the master. So you can still decide on your specialization, as we already mentioned, during your first year or even at the beginning of your second year. And orientate on what's going on and make a decision upon your information. And in parallel, we have career orientation, and we also offer some short elective courses as well. So in the Q&A sessions, after this first session, there are some students and also an alumna, and they will tell you what they have done in their first or second year and what decisions they took on deciding on the specialization. So they'll give you information on their planning and their thoughts on that as well. So it might be a good reason to join the Q&A, because then you get real life examples. Of course, important, as we have a maximum capacity of 100 students, admission and selection is of course a very important
Yes.
part.
So, all the information pertaining to our admission requirements can be found on our website, of course. Very important is the deadline for application is April 1st, 2023. So if you want to start next September, next year, you have to apply before the 1st of April. And if you need a visa or you want to have a scholarship, please check the deadlines for that, because they're usually earlier than the application deadlines for a master. And you can submit your application via StudyLink. The URL is shown over there. And then we have a maximum of 100 places each year. So if there's more applications, we will perform a selection placement procedure. And time-wise, you will hear around the beginning of May whether or not you are conditionally admitted. So that's the first step. Our Board of Admissions will check your applications to see if you meet our entry requirements. And then we'll perform a selection procedure in May if necessary. And you will hear by the end of May, beginning of June, whether or not we can offer you a place in our master. There's also room for those of you who have done their bachelor at the HBO-instelling. So you can get a place in our master, but only after following a pre-master, which is a program of 1 year. And this only starts in September. Again, please look on our website for exact information, but you can submit your application for this also through StudyLink, but then you don't apply for the master, but you apply for the bachelor Biomedische Wetenschappen, and you choose the option not first year. The deadline is the same, it's April 1st, 2023. Also here we have a limited number of places each year. So most likely we will have to perform a selection procedure again to see who we can place and who we cannot. In first instance, timing will be pretty much the same, so we'll notify you whether you're not admissible as soon as possible, and then we'll perform the selection placement procedure in May and hope to give you an answer by the end of May. The good news is, if you have been allowed to start with this pre-master program and you successfully complete it, you are guaranteed a place in our master. So you don't have to be submitted to another selection placement round. If you successfully complete this pre-master, you are guaranteed to start our master the next year, the next study year. So in this case, that would mean 2024. And then a little bit about the entry requirements. So first, it's about knowledge. So we expect you to have knowledge, understanding and skills in a number of subjects, specifically molecular biology, immunology, pathology, neuroscience and statistics. And then also a very important entry requirement is a research experience and a practical laboratory experience. So the laboratory experience can be gained either in courses or during your internship. And with the research project, we want you to have done a more or less independent project during your bachelor, where you investigate a specific research question. And also, those of you who are modeling for international students, you have to have a certain level of English, demonstrated by, for instance, an IELTS test. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, so it's very important to realize that you do not miss the deadline. Basically, that is, and all the information will be posted on our website, so you can go through it. And of course, very important, after graduation, so you were able to be admitted to the master, you did all what we asked you to do, and you graduated, so it's very important what to do after graduations. Well, what we see is that, and I think the numbers are even better at this moment, that 75% within 6 months and approximately 90% in a year. I think at the moment we saw, we had a survey, and that approximately 90% of the graduates had a job within 6 months. So you can imagine that at the moment overall in life sciences, the job market is pretty good. What we also see is that still a majority of our students, also we see that also when students choose the research specialization, that about 60% of the students chose for a PhD position. And that can be a PhD position in the LMC, it can be in the Netherlands, but also abroad. So we still see that a lot of students are interested in following that direction. But we also see that students are interested in positions outside academics, so in a research environment, for example, in a company. And then you have all kinds of junior positions in the pharmaceutical industry, startups, or for example at consultancies. And we also see that students are interested in those positions. And we also occasionally see positions opening up in policy making, for example, in ministries, institutions, or patients' organizations. So that's also what we see. And then, of course, there are also junior positions in the area of communication, for example, in museums. So that's also options, or combined with teaching or teaching at high school as well. And we have some short movies on our website, so check those out, the alumni stories on the website, so you hear from them, and in various specialization and what they are doing now. So it gives you an idea about the possibilities with this master program, but of course there are a lot of opportunities out there. Well, we will answer questions if you have them also now after this presentation, but join us in the Q&A for HBO students. That one will be in Dutch, and there are two students will tell them about what they are doing in the master, and all other students and also international students are invited for the Q&A. The other Q&A session where we will be joined by an international graduate, and she will tell about what she has done during her master. So please join us there at 5 o'clock. But there's also time to answer your questions now, and I'll just want to show you this slide that, of course, we mentioned the website, so that's always up to date. Look there for information that you need. You can mail us. We have a masterbms at lmc.nl. Then we can answer all your questions, and so this mail is there. And also very importantly, if you want to start in April, before April, apply for before April 1st, 2023, there will be online and on-campus information in February and March. Well, by joining this session, you will be on our mailing list, so you will also receive follow-up. But you can always check the announcements on the website of the university and the LMC, so you can join us there. If you want to, if you have more specific questions. And a start in September 2023 is then coming nearer, so you might have more questions than at this moment. But we have some time for questions, so I don't know whether there are questions posted.
There's already one.
Okay.
Is this master only for students with a bachelor in Biomedical Sciences? So no, it's definitely not. Of course, if you have a bachelor in Biomedical Sciences, especially from the Netherlands, you are automatically eligible to start. It doesn't mean you are placed, but you meet all the entry requirements. But you can also have a bachelor that's equivalent. For instance, biopharmaceutical sciences from Leiden, or biology from somewhere in the Netherlands. And we also have students that have done the LST bachelor. So you definitely can be admitted with a bachelor other than biomedical sciences, but it has to be related to it. So what the Board of Admissions will do, they will check our entry requirements and will check your bachelor, whether or not you have all the required knowledge, whether or not you have done an internship. Those are the most important points that they will check.
Yeah, and it's also important to realize that if you're now in your third year and you still have opportunities to choose, for example, a research project or other electives, and you are interested in the master program, you can check whether there's anything you think that is lacking and maybe fill up that gap by choosing the research project that would give you that knowledge, for example, in immunology or in other medical sciences. We quite often see that people might have a deficiency there. So you still have ample opportunities to fill those gaps. And if you need advice, you can always mail us. So or elect in your elective area, that might really help you to make it a good fit.
Yeah, and what I may add to this, if you look at your own resume and you think, I lack knowledge in one particular subject, for instance, neuroscience, that does not mean that your application will be rejected. You can be admitted to our master with the condition that you have to follow an additional subject during the master on top of your master program. But for instance, if you have no background knowledge of neuroscience, that will not be a reason to reject your application.
So that's important to realize. If it's just one.
If your deficiency is below 15 ECTS, you are still admissible.
Yeah.
Once all requirements listed on the website are met, is the selection mostly based on grades or some other criteria? Well, actually, the selection criteria are also mentioned on our website. It's definitely not only on grades. That is one of the criteria. But the other is also the match with the requirements, so your previous knowledge, whether or not you have you have research experience, whether or not you have laboratory experience, and also one of the criteria is how long you did to finish your bachelor. So did you do it in the nominal period? Did you do it within a year after the nominal period? So those are the 5 criteria that are scored and that are basically determining the placement. There were 100 students to be admitted into the master program. If we apply earlier, do we get a better chance of getting? Or are acceptance letters given all at the same time? Yeah, there's really no first come, first served here. All applications are just equally. And once all applications are evaluated by a board of admissions, then we move on to the selection placement procedure, which is also, for some of you, you have to wait a little bit longer if you're early. But there's really no point in applying as early as you can, because it will not affect the placement.
Yeah, but don't miss the deadline.
No, don't miss the deadline. That is important. April 1st is...
yeah, it's not a joke.
No. But other than that, or can I change my specialization during the program? Or can you choose multiple specializations? Well, I'll leave that one to you.
Okay. Yeah, that is possible. What we see is that quite often students hesitate between research and management. So we have done advice for them how to combine those two. You will only graduate in one specialization. That will be your main specialization. But you can do additional things. And that will all appear on your diploma as well. So it will be clearly visible if you apply for jobs. So that is possible, and we recognize this also because especially with research and management, a lot of students hesitate what they would like to do. So they do the first year research and then they start taking the courses, and then they quite often decide whether they want to pursue management or research, and if they're still undecided, they sometimes make a combination. So we help them with planning that, and then of course you will end up with more than 120 EC, but that is possible.
Is it possible to specialize in a certain topic within biomedical sciences, for example, focusing on the molecular level instead of population organ level? Yeah.
Yes, that is possible. Especially oncology and immunology are very broad subjects, so you can choose that. It's not allowed to do the 2 internships, the research internship at the same department on exactly the same subject. So we really would like you to diversify, because we think you need multiple skills and knowledge to get a good position on the job market. So we will really help you and guide you in that direction. So you cannot do the same subject twice.
How many students register every year for this master? More than 100. Well, the answer to that is yes, but how many, that varies every year. So I cannot give you an exact answer, but I can tell you that we have had to perform the selection placement procedure at least for the last couple of years. So I definitely expect more than 100 applications.
But in the end, we could place everybody who wanted to start.
Yeah.
So the people that also apply and then they give up their position, and then we can put people on the waiting list. So so far we have always been able to place students. So,
yeah. Will the info that is given here, I think, also be posted on the website?
It is posted on the website. Basically, this was a summary of all the information on the website. Yeah.
What sets your faculty and staff apart from other biomedical programs?
Well, I think the staff and the faculty, you can, of course, if you look in the Netherlands, you can compare medical hospitals, the academic medical hospitals in the research areas that they perform very strongly, and then you will see that there might be a difference there. I mean, you have certain topics that are really strong at certain universities. Whether our faculty or staff is better or different from other biomedical programs, I don't think I can say that. I think the quality in the Netherlands of the biomedical programs are good. The choices they make within their program are quite often the subjects they offer, the way the program is set up, and I think the main difference in our program is that you can choose within these specializations. So I think faculty and staff overall in the Netherlands is good. And also the biomedical programs are good in the Netherlands. So I do not think that one of them is really better, but they have maybe sometimes a different orientation than what we emphasize. So it's really in the details, I would say.
Can you describe the difference between the Master Biomedical Sciences and the Master Biopharmaceutical Sciences and the Master Life Science and Technology?
Well, that's a lot of questions. I think there's not a lot of difference. I mean, the difference is the biggest with the life science and technology, I think, because they are more technically oriented, sometimes also more molecular. It depends on your interest. Pharmaceutical sciences also is comparable. I think the setup of the program is slightly different because they have the first year really major internship already, research internship, and we do that in the second year. And also they want to place their students in the LSCDR, and we say, well, you can do it anywhere where research is properly conducted. So it's really into details. I think with diplomas if you, for example, are interested in pursuing a PhD or another position within the life sciences, all programs are really good. So I think there's not... It's in the details. Emphasis, we are located in a medical environment, so the research is really medical orientated, and pharmaceutical sciences is a little bit more chemistry, and LST is maybe a little bit more molecular and technical. But so the differences are in the details, and I think all the programs are really excellent stepping stone for obtaining a job later after graduation. I hope that helps.
How many students on average will apply for the pre-master? That's also varies a little bit, but also there we have had many more students applying than we can place in the pre-master. So I guess that's probably what you're aiming at. So I can be pretty confident that we will have to perform a selection placement procedure again also for September 2023. Yeah.
We can definitely say that we have not been able to place all the HBO students that wanted to join our program. So for the other ones, we can say that we have been able to place students, but not in this case.
Yeah. So are you admissible with a bachelor in pharmacy? An international student just graduated from Spain. Yeah, that depends a lot on the actual program that you have followed. So this is a very specific question. If you want us to look at this, I would advise you to mail us to masterbms@lmc.nl so we can have a look at your particular personal situation.
Yeah.
Because there's no general answer to this question.
Yeah, it also depends on the program.
Yeah.
So we see a huge variety, especially for international students, that a huge variety in what they have done in the bachelor. So it's all then personal and tailor-made. But we can answer your questions.
If you would like to work on development of vaccines, is BMS a good choice? Well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I mean, then Leiden is not the only place where you can do that. So there's more than that in what might you decide to go to Leiden. So just look around. Look also at the research that is performed at the LMC in this area. The opportunity to go elsewhere within programs, is that great? When we say, if you want to do your research project outside the LMC, you're most welcome to do that. We just have the quality checks, but you can do that outside the LMC. So if there's anything you're particularly interested in, you can do a lot. And we do the quality checks on the research that you would like to do. And of course, we have a great molecular virology research group, but there are multiple molecular virology research groups in the Netherlands and outside the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think this question was already a little bit talked about.
Yeah, I think, well, Utrecht and Amsterdam also, they have broad programs, but also they have specializations. So they have, for example, the specialization in neuroscience within their program. So it's just the setup that is different. But I think that apart from that, there's not a huge difference between these master programs. So it's just the way it's set up, and you can check that on the program websites.
If you complete a management specialization, are you able to work for a company trying to innovate healthcare, for example, Philips or Siemens?
Well, I don't know where all the graduates went, but I don't think, well, we had internships at Siemens, but it's not the first choice. We see that a lot of students go for the big pharmaceutical companies because that quite often matches their interests better. But doesn't not mean that it's not possible.
I'm very interested in cancer research. Do you think this master would be a good fit?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, cancer research is so broad. So if you do the research specialization, you can choose your FOS courses and your internships accordingly. So there's no, it's not, it would fit. It's for you to decide where you would like to do your internships. So it's up to you to choose those internships in the direction you're interested in. We have a lot of students that do internships at the NKI as well, and all over the world. Now COVID is, getting less of an obstruction. We see that a lot of our students this first master year are going abroad.
What kind of jobs can you do after this master without a PhD?
Yeah, there's a huge variety in jobs. We see that students are interested still in lab work, so they join companies as, for example, as a junior scientist. We see all kind of starting jobs in businesses. That can be in pharmaceutical sciences, that can be in consultancy, so junior consultant. Basically, a lot of jobs that start with junior. But in the life sciences, so it's a huge variety. I always advise my own students to check LinkedIn, alumni on LinkedIn, and see where they ended up, because that gives you a great overview of all the opportunities, not only for graduates from Leiden, but also for graduates from Amsterdam or Utrecht. It's a lot of information out there.
Which course is a stumbling block for most students? Well,
some students think the statistics module is a challenge, but I think, I don't think there's a really stumbling block. No.
Because, we only have 3 mandatory courses that all students do, and then everybody chooses their
favorite.
Yeah, their favorite FOS course, for instance. It's going very fast. Are there also 100 spots available in February? So there's no real stumbling block, I don't think. It also depends on your own preference. Now, the 100 spots is for the whole academic year. So we start in September, and then the number of spots available in February depends on the number of students that have started in September of that same academic year.
Yeah.
Information about the pre-master. Well, first of all, there's a Q&A session after this. So please join, because there's 2 students that have actually done the pre-master. So they will tell you about the contents of this pre-master as well. And other than that, if you still need answers, just mail us.
And is it listed on the website?
No, not the
Oh,
courses
okay,
themselves.
okay,
No.
okay.
Yeah. No, we don't have a set number of... so this asks whether or not we save spots for students that have done the bachelor at the LMC.
No.
That's not the case. So it depends who applies, however many apply, and they are subjected to the same selection procedure as everybody else. So we try to be as fair as possible with this. Contact hours for a normal week in this master program.
Well, a lot. For the mandatory courses, we expect you to be there, and also for the FOS courses, because there's small groups. So we expect you to be there. It depends on the program of that particular course, but it's not like I join and whatever I want. We expect you to be there. So let me think. If you look at the schedules, it depends also on the assignments that you receive, but I think there are plenty of contact hours. It depends on the course, but on 20 maybe or so.
Yeah, and we always say all courses are full-time, and the presence is mandatory.
Yeah, so it's not like you can, it's not a program that you could do another program at the same time. It's really demanding, and of course if you start an internship, that's from 9 to 5. Yes,
so this is about the knowledge required. So we ask a specific number of ECTS. For instance, molecular biology, we ask 9 ECTS of knowledge, but you can list a combination of courses in which you have had this subject covered. So if you apply, you have to fill out an application form. You can find the link on our website. And there's a table in which, for instance, molecular biology is asked whether or not you have knowledge of this, and you can just list all courses in your bachelor program that covered molecular biology, and then estimate the number of ECTS that was spent on this subject within each course.
Yeah, and anything, you can also always add anything that you think is relevant.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Biology. Here. Well, this is a lot of detail. I think in the end it depends on also again on the subjects you choose, the courses they offer. I'm not sure what they offer at biology at this moment. I think it's in the details. So you check it out, because they also have internships and stuff like that. So it's really, if you are interested, what we see is that students come to Biomedical Sciences in Leiden from, for example, biology or LST or biopharmaceutical sciences, that they're really interested in a medical link that we have, doing research within a hospital. So we see that's quite often one of the main reasons that students come in our direction. The quality of the program also of biology in Leiden, I mean, it's good. So.
Aspects of coding, programming, imaging in the program. We have the big statistics course where we teach R.
Yeah.
There's a course about imaging in neuroscience. That's a FOS course, so that's specifically about imaging. And then I think you would mainly choose this by choosing a specific internship in...
For example, at the radiology department. Yeah. I mean, that's how you decide on your internships, because then you can really go into specific directions that you're looking for. HBO Plus students also have to follow a pre-master.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by HBO plus students.
No, no. All students that come from a HBO in the Netherlands, they have to take the pre-master program.
If you mean you have done a fast track, then yes, you also have to follow the pre-master.
Yeah, and otherwise mail us, and then you can explain us what a HBO plus student, what it entails, so we can advise you.
Junior positions in museums. Junior positions in communication could be in museums. What kind of work does this involve?
First of all, the jobs are scarce, so you always have to realize that communication, it might be difficult to find jobs because money is always an issue there. It's quite often a combination of, for example, with educational projects, or they have websites, development of indeed again website or teaching modalities within the museum program. So it's all kind of that things that is at least what I see also in internships. A lot of musea have communication departments, and what they do it varies because the websites, all kinds of organizing activities, lectures, teaching. Primary school or other students from high school, all kinds of stuff is involved. So it's a variety of things that you have to do working, for example, at the communication department of a big museum. I hope that answers you a bit.
Is it true that the selection of the pre-master depends on your average level at HBO? Yes, your grade is one of the important selection criteria for the pre-master. Yeah. But it's the grade at the time of application, because for most students they probably won't have a grade of an internship yet unless you've finished your HBO bachelor already. So that's pretty much the same for everybody. Management at BMS and management for Biopharmaceutical Sciences, is there a difference?
No, the courses that you can choose from are the same. We have a little bit, the length of the internships, there's a difference there. So for Pharmaceutical Sciences, the length of the business internships are really set. And the others in Biomedical Sciences, they are flexible. So that's the main difference.
Does this master's program allow you to have a job during your studies, or is there no time for that? Well, this is probably a question better asked by one of our students. Better answered, sorry. I think there's time, but you have to plan it. Like we said, courses are full-time and apprentices is mandatory, but there's also a self-study time, which you may...
What we see is weekend jobs, sometimes evening jobs, but it's tough. But what we see is that students break their studies for some time if they really need to get some money, and that is possible. But it's a lot of work if you want to combine it with a job. That is really hard, especially doing an internship. Combining it with a job, that is difficult. Yeah. But we see that students take summer jobs or have a break, and then work and get try to get some money. I think we are ending this session a little bit. I don't know if there's still a lot of... actually, it's very good. We have answered the majority or maybe all of your questions. So thank you very much for joining us today. Come to our Q&As and hear stories from our students, and then they can tell you more, and then you can ask them why they chose Leiden. So thank you again, and maybe see you in February or March. Or in our mailbox. So thank you very much.
Thank you.